Chapter 6, Part 2. I chose the lower catwalk. I believe it's also left trigger. Yep, the catwalk. It just seemed a little bit easier. Seemed like there's less enemies this way. Though, this first enemy is really freaking hard to kill by yourself. Like, I forget that chick's name. But if she runs up and does the damage to him, like that right there, that's how you gut a motherfucker. Like, it's really hard to chainsaw people on insane difficulty, but I'm sure I'll be using that quite a few times.
Yeah.
Throughout.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Now, can you get killed while in animations?
Ooh. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you can't take damage while doing the chainsaw animation. And I can't think of any other animations that really happen.
Executions? I guess you don't do many.
Well, chainsaw animation is kind of the same as the execution.
Okay.
They're the same kind of like process, I guess. There's not a lot of like door opening animations that you see in some games, where like, oh, while I'm doing this, I'm invincible.
Like grabbing people in God of War.
Yeah, exactly. Or, turning the crank to lift the platform or whatever crazy thing they throw at you. I don't think there's a lot of that in this game.
Can you pull that turret off?
No.
How's the shotgun in this game?
No, you can't. Shotgun blows ass on practically any difficulty. There's almost no range to it. It's great for multiplayer because people just like to run around and
roll around.
Roll around
faster by
fucking rolling and going
switching
cover. God, that pisses me off. I don't like this multiplayer. I don't understand. It's so frustrating. It's really frustrating to me. Like, it's not fun at all.
You must suck at it.
It's never clicked, I guess. Like, if there were no shotguns in multiplayer, I'd probably like it a lot more.
Well, you hate melee combat. You're like a sniper guy.
Yeah, well,
in every game, like, if there is a choice, you will sit back with a snipe.
it's not even sit back with a snipe. It's a little bit of range. Like,
Well, even in like League
Yeah.
of Legends, you prefer ranged guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you just don't like getting up in there.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah. Yeah.
You just don't like getting up in that. You want to stay back, bitch.
Get your hands off me. Yeah, I guess so. It's just, Gears is all about...
safer.
Gears is all about the sprinting around and like moving faster by tapping A to get to cover than actually sprinting and running around. And I don't know. It's just, it's never... I don't know.
I always thought the stupidest thing about Gears was, like, when you sprint, the camera moves down and it's wobbly. And it gives you this effect like you're going fast. And then you see someone sprinting and they're, like, going slightly faster than walking.
Very slightly faster.
And you're like, what?
It's
This
crazy.
is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that happened during the beta First Impressions video. So this part, it's kind of screwy. There's a mortar team at the end of the bridge. If you can get to this right area, you're fine. You're completely safe. Just run up here, toss a grenade down there if you want, and then get on that little platform towards the right that I'm going to get on in a second and just like shoot directly down on all these guys. And make sure those mortar guys don't get off another shot because there's such a huge range of damage on the mortars.
Yeah.
They just absolutely destroy you. Oh! Really cool thing that only blew my mind, and I'm sure no one else is going to give a shit about. But, so there's a new enemy. Well, not even an enemy. It's like a drop ship coming up called a barge. And it's this large, like, Hindenburg-style blimp. Mm-hmm. But it's living. It's a creature.
Okay.
And in a second, you have the gas barge. Like, you see, it's got a mouth on it, right?
Yeah.
But they attached, like, a platform to it so it can carry shit around. And I missed the first shot. Just kind of shitty, but I think I missed the second shot, too. Anyway, so the gas barge. I was reading Cosmos by Carl Sagan recently. And, like, a couple weeks ago, I was reading it, and he was talking about evolution and how everything on Earth has evolved specifically to live on Earth. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about a hypothetical world where other life may be, like Jupiter. If there was life on Jupiter, how would that evolve? Mm-hmm. Well, Jupiter is a huge planet, but it's largely gas.
Yeah.
And he talks about these, like, the animals, the life forms that are going to evolve on Jupiter, if there was life in a hypothetical situation, is like balloons. They're going to be balloon life forms that float, that can move up and down in the gas of Jupiter the same way that fish can move up and down in water. Mm-hmm. You know? And he talked about how like the large life forms that would evolve on Jupiter and be like huge kilometer long blimps like floating along, and there's going to be
mouths.
Like, right, and there's going to be like
platforms attached to them,
and there's going to be like some symbiotic relationships between the blimps and other things that are, and I was like, and I read that a week before playing this, and I'm like, it just like, as soon as I saw that thing, I was like, that thing's from fucking Jupiter. Like, that's the only planet that thing could fucking be from. Like, how would an animal like that evolve on a planet where people are walking around?
Yeah, we'd be like, what's that thing? Let's shoot it.
Yeah, like, that would never live. That, like, how could something like that evolve? It would never happen, except on a gas planet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it has really bad farts.
So,
it's a fart.
Evolution's
fart
a lie.
planet.
Evolution's a lie is what I'm really trying to say.
It's a fart planet.
It's a fart giant.
Mm. Are there any more fart giants in the rest of this thing? Or was that the only fart giant?
There's quite a few more blimps
Fart
throughout
giants.
the game. Fart giants, yeah, definitely. So the objective here is just to get to the end of the bridge and hit X next to that box that's full of tickers. Now, you can't hear it because you're not listening to it, but the reason I'm so freaking convinced that the DLC for single player is going to be you playing as Coltrane is because right now you're playing in sync with what you were doing as Marcus in the first 2 levels of the game.
Oh, okay.
And like for a second there, you were just talking to him on the ear radio, and the earwolf radio, and there's a couple chapters within the game that you or Coltrane and Baird completely separate from Marcus and do their own thing, and then they rejoin together for the last chapter. And it's just in the way they separate and then come back together and then separate and then come back together, it's like, okay, yeah. And like on the main loading screen, there's a couple different options, but one of them says coming soon under single player. It's like, oh, well, okay. There's gonna be single player DLC.
Yeah, you know what that is.
Yep.
Well, and
you're gonna play as Coltrane.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the first act.
And that was announced